Welcome to Radical Self-Care free event. Welcome to Tina, Natalie, Lara, Ingrid, Julia, Goodney. Hoping Moon will join in a moment and I can promote her. Bex, Caroline, Angela, Joyce, and I might be missing some of your names. Phyllis, Maura, Sue. Yeah, because you're arriving in alphabetical order. Joanne's here as well. Is Moon here? Well, welcome everyone. I don't see Moon right now, so I'm just going to get the information up on the call. So in today's call, we'll be exploring radical self-care, as you know. Thank you, Natalie. Yeah, there's the chat there where you can write. If you write to all panelists and attendees, then everyone will see it. So if you might have to change it to all panelists and attendees so that everyone will see your comments. We've got hello from Josephine and from Maura and from Sue and from Angela and from Emma. Hello, everybody. You might want to write in where you're calling in from so we get a sense of the global circle of women that are gathered here today for this event. And I'm just going to, again, look for Moon. Where is Moon? Moon and I are hosting this together. And no, you're not on camera for this event. This is a webinar. So it's just, well, hopefully Moon will come in a moment and Moon will be on camera as well. Hi from Boulder, from Ingrid, blessings from Carla, Joy from Nottingham, sending sunshine from Alicante, Spain, beautiful. That's Lara, I believe. Yeah. Okay, great, says Angela. Julia says, hey sisters, it's Julia and Leanne in Sheffield. Oh, welcome, Sheffield sisters. I'm from Sheffield too, as you probably know. Bex from Devon, UK. Hi from Wales, from Amy. Ingrid says, I can't see everyone's comments. Yes, so just making sure you change it to all panelists and attendees if you're happy for it to be read out by everyone, which I'm guessing most of you are. So just remembering to do that. There's a little blue icon that you can change there. Oh, we've got one with her hand up, and that better be Moon, hopefully. There we go, yes. And so great, Moon. I don't know, you might need to turn your video on, possibly lower left. Yay,
Hi.
we're both on.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't have the link, so
You're here now, that's great. I know. because you hadn't seen my WhatsApp messages, I was like, oh, something happened, but you're here, that's great.
Yeah,
Josine's asked, how do we do that? So there's a little blue icon towards the bottom near the comments where you can just change it to all panelists and attendees. And that means that everyone will see your comments just below where the comments are. Kristen says, great to be here in this beautiful place. Kristen in Iceland. Oh, amazing. So looking forward to this. Wonderful. So keep sharing where you're calling in from. It's great to have a sense of the circle and the women that are here. It looks like there's 27 of you so far. So yes, welcome again to this free event where we'll be exploring radical self-care. And before we begin, I just invite you actually just to take a moment just to arrive, just to take a couple of deeper breaths. Maybe put a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly. Maybe send a gentle smile through your body. And have a sense of the global circle of women that is gathering for this event. To explore the art of radical self-care together in community with other women. Yeah, and you can just slowly come back and open your eyes when you're ready. And just make sure you have everything you need to be cozy, as cozy and comfortable as possible. So if you want to go and get an extra cushion or a blanket or a cup of tea even, or whatever you want, just to get yourself really comfortable, then do that now, to really make this a sanctuary of self-care for you. So you might want to turn off your other browsers on your computer, you might want to just switch off your other devices and really let yourself immerse yourself in this hour for yourself. Really take this time to be here fully. And you might also want to have a journal and pen handy in case you want to do any journaling or at any point sharing what's coming up for you as a result of the practices or anything at all. Although we often do journaling prompts as part of our course, we're not doing that today, but you still might want to have one to hand. So I'd also like to welcome those of you who are not familiar with the Women's Wellness Circle to this call, because I know many of our community members are here and understand what we're about. But I'm Frances, and I'm here with Moon. We'll be introducing ourselves more shortly. And yeah, we're really inspired at the Circle about sharing tools and practices that have most supported our own unique healing journeys, and that we find to be supportive for many women that we hold space for and coach on the healing journey from chronic illness. And but we're just passionate about sharing with other women particularly, and for this call as well, we've really opened it up to any women as well, women that just perhaps maybe are feeling a bit burnt out, or maybe a little bit anxious, or just want to help sustain health as well. So this call's open to anyone, so whatever place you're in, you are welcome here. And yeah, and we know obviously from personal experience of had chronic illness that the journey can be really hard, and it can really supportive to be around other women who get what it's like to heal from illness. Yeah, women have been gathering together for thousands of years to support each other, and it's actually so like wired into us the beneficial effects of being in circle with other women and sharing our authentic truths and sharing our feelings and our parts that we might not share with others, our stories, and it can really help us to come home to ourselves and to heal on many levels. So Moon, I'll hand over to you to share a little bit about what to expect today.
Yeah, so I'm really happy to be here with all of you and with you, Frances. And yeah, so we have a deep and very rich time together today. And I think this maybe have already happened before I came on, but we'd love to hear from you and hear, who's here and where you're coming from, and what you're longing to receive from our time today. In terms of, and if you've already done that, I missed it because I came a little late. And in terms of the flow for today, we're going to offer 3 really powerful practices to support you in letting go of behaviors and beliefs that may be holding you back in your healing, and to just really kind of deeply anchor you into some deep and powerful connection with yourself. And you will have tools to bring forward from our time together today and to bring into your life. First, we'll be doing a meditation, and then Frances is going to offer her practice called a pause, and then we will be doing some EFT together. So we have a lot to share together today in this hour that we have. And after we do some deep practices, we'll also have a little bit of time for some sharing. And then we're going to introduce this radical self-care immersion course that will be starting on February 25th, and we'll talk about what will be there and share the logistics and be here to answer any questions you have about that. And so, yeah, we're just really happy to be here with you today and to be exploring different practices that support you in your wellness and that support us in our wellness. Thanks.
Great, thank you. And just wanted to, so someone has it better to do this on a laptop. I'm doing it on my phone, but I don't have split screen. I mean, I think often the functionality on a laptop can be a little bit better, but if you can hear us both and you're happy, if you perhaps can't see us both, then that's fine as well. So do whatever works best for you in this moment. Nicola shares, hi everyone, lovely to have space and time with you all. And Tiddy shares, either way should be the same, not a split screen yet. And thank you, great. Okay, so yeah, so just like to introduce Moon, who's an experienced coach and EFT practitioner helping people to heal from chronic illness and having been on her own journey of healing as well, deep journey. Do you want to share a little bit about why you're here and introduce yourself briefly?
Yeah, Yeah, I'm here because I'm really passionate about supporting women in their healing and in their lives. And I'm really passionate about helping people recover their health and connect with the deepest parts of who they are and to find a rhythm and balance and flow in their lives that supports their joy and their happiness and their relationships and who you want to be in your life. And so I'm really happy to have this time with all of you today. And for those of you who are going to take the course with us, to have a month to really deeply steep in the practices that nourish our wellness and well-being and clear away the pains and the wounds and the clutter that keep us from being who we are and showing up in this very powerful time that we're all together on the earth in the best ways that we possibly can, in the most loving, wonderful, imperfectly messy, beautiful fullness of who we are. Yeah, and my background is informed by so many different disciplines and practices, EFT and pre and perinatal psychology, and I have a really deep Buddhist meditation practice, and I'm an herbalist, and yeah, I bring just the fullness of who I am and what I've studied and learned in my life to share with whoever I come in contact with. So that's me in a nutshell. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Moon. That's wonderful. Yeah, and similarly, I have a lot of background and different kinds of practices and training in the healing arts, but I was also meditating Buddhist for 10 years as well, and had my own healing journey from chronic illness when I was pretty young, and also a spiritual awakening, which was a crisis for a short while as well. So I've been on quite a deep spiritual, emotional, soul journey and physical healing journey as well. Yeah, I've been a wellness coach for over 10 years now, and started the Women's Wellness Circle a few years ago, and I've more recently been inspired to support particularly women, I think, in the area of sex, love and relationships as well. So I'm doing some deeper training on that at the moment, as well as deeper training on working with internal parts of our psyche. So yeah, always learning and training more and developing in this field. So it's an honor to be with you all today. And yeah, so in terms of this topic of radical self-care, why does it matter? I mean, I believe it matters because, and feel free to chip in at any point here, Moon, maintaining balance and healthy flow in this modern world can be challenging, and actually sustaining our health and being healthy can be is not always easy in this modern world, in terms of things like there's a lot of pressure often to be achieving and to be doing all the time, and a lot of us haven't had the early parenting and the early secure attachment we need in order to really thrive as well. Many of us go through some kind of trauma in our lifetime, or experience things traumatically that might not be obviously seen as trauma as well, and all of these things can have an impact, and for some of us that can end up in chronic illness as well. But we all need self-care. We all need self-care, I feel, whether it's about sustaining our health, whether it's about building our health, and we definitely really need it if we're unwell. And symptoms and illness, if we get to that point, can be really hard. The emotions about being ill, the change and loss of our previous life, and all of that. So we all need this self-care, and ideally we don't get to the point of chronic illness in order to really realize how important it is to take care of ourselves. But for many of us, that's what can happen, and but it can also be seen as an initiatory process into a lifetime of deep self-care and establishing more and more balance and harmony within ourselves and in our environments, and to face the deeper parts of ourselves, perhaps to shift from seeking approval through achievements or helping others, always to really being able to nourish and look after yourself before making achievements in the world, or before helping and pleasing other people. It can also be an invitation to heal deep ancestral patterns that have been going on for a long time, and to create a deep transformation that can then infect the world and future generations. But it can be important to have support around that, to have guidance, to have people that have maybe gone a bit further on the way, and to also have maybe a community of people that are on a similar kind of journey as well. But it also, another problem is that it can be difficult to apply what we know, or even to apply it in the right way. So sometimes some of us learn about self-care and learn about all the different tools we can use to heal ourselves, say, from chronic illness, but then the achiever part of ourselves, or the perfectionist part of ourselves, is trying to get it right and do it perfectly, and can actually then create more problems as well. So it really helps to have I would say the commitment of working for example, by joining the Radical Self-Care course and getting the Access to the Women's Wellness Circle community, to have a container of support around the self-care, and to have other women who get what it's like, and to have the guidance and support to do the practices in a gentle and kind way for your system, and following your unique flow and what works best for your system and for you in terms of the self-care practices you use perhaps on a daily basis, and how you do them, and to have the guidance of people who have taken those steps to use these kind of tools in a way that is conducive to healing, rather than in one that is adding perhaps another layer of things to the to-do list of what we ought to or should do every day. And to know that we're not alone in the journey and in the various obstacles and challenges that we meet on the way of healing, whatever kind of healing journey that is. Okay, so unless you want to add anything to that, Moon, and perhaps we want to read a few of the sharings out, or go straight into the meditation, whatever you feel.
Yeah, I'd love to just go straight into the meditation. Thank you. That was all really beautiful. And now let's dive into some really deep self-care. So make yourself as comfortable as you can in this moment. And so if you're someone whose body is in a lot of pain and discomfort, just see if you can invite in even just 5% more ease, or 1% more ease, just to kind of soften and settle down. And you can be in any position that works for you, allowing your eyes to gently close. And so we're going to begin this practice by grounding and connecting with where we are here. And so at any time in this practice, I invite you to return to this beginning place if you want to or need to. And knowing that any practice that's offered here today, or really anywhere in your life, to really deeply receive from that which is nourishing and beneficial to you, and release or adapt or shift any of the places that aren't. That's always an invitation. And it is really a foundation of self-care that we follow the rivers that are deeply within us and what they're calling for. And that we know that in the Women's Wellness Circle, you're always in a space where you can adapt what's happening so that it nourishes and supports you right where you are today. And so to begin, just allowing yourself to make contact with yourself and the space around you. Perhaps you might even lift up your hands to feel the space around you, to feel your energy field around you, to feel what's there. And then perhaps you soften your hands and you allow your attention to swim down into the bottom of your feet. And connecting, if you're wearing socks, feeling the socks on your skin. Feeling your legs and your pelvis get heavy in your bed or your chair. Feeling your breath traveling in deep into your belly, gently expanding your lungs. And allow your awareness and attention to reach out and make contact with the walls and the floor that surrounds you if you're in a room inside. And let yourself travel that space so that you can really feel the shape of the space around you. And if you're outside, feeling the earth beneath you, the sky above you, and the trees or the houses, whatever's around you, just letting yourself reach out and feel with your energy and attention and awareness the space that surrounds you. Allowing that to be an invitation that drops you deeper and deeper into your own body, into your felt sense. And then from this place, just lifting up your awareness a little bit to travel around this virtual circle and this literal circle that we're in that spans this beautiful earth we all live on. And imagining that we're all placed beautifully around a circle around the earth. And we have a sense of this container and this circle that we're sharing together. And let yourself feel the love and the courage, the longings, the struggles, and the deep desires of your sisters in this circle with you today and on the recording. And let yourself take comfort in the experience. We are here together right now. We are here together, deeply committed to our own healing and the healing of those within this circle, and the healing within our world. And feel the containment of this circle. And in this moment, invite in and call in any divine energies or presences or qualities that you would like to have here with you today for your journey. Perhaps you'll just call in the quality of the highest love, greatest compassion, and deepest care. Perhaps you have a really deep connection with Mother Mary, or with Tara, or with God, or with the beautiful tree outside your window. Just inviting those qualities and those divine presences to be here and to fill and surround the space that we're working in together. And then let's collectively just bow our heads in gratitude and offer our deep appreciation for the enlightened qualities and the enlightened helpers that are here to help us with our work today. And so at any time in this practice, you can simply release your efforting and return to the beauty and the safety of this circle and container, to the safety and the holding of your body in the room you're in. And so, I'd like to offer a little bit of time for you to bring your connection, your beautiful healing presence to a part of yourself that you ignore or that you run away from or that you pretend doesn't exist, to a part of yourself that is wounded and hurting, to a part of yourself that you may not like. And just allow yourself to become aware of that place within you, this place within your emotions, or within your energy field, or within your body. This place that you may often distract yourself from, or that you hope will go away, or simply cease existing. And if you have many of those places, I invite you in this practice to just choose one. You can always return to this. You'll have the recording and you can do it again with those other parts. But for now, just journeying to one of those places. And perhaps placing your hand on that place, wherever that place is in your body that holds this part. And just bringing your connection and your presence to this place that you run away from, to this place you feel ashamed of, to this place that you wish didn't exist. Just bringing some contact and care and connection in whatever way feels good. Maybe that is placing your hands on that part of your body. Maybe you see that wounded part of yourself sitting on a bench and you just sit down next to her. And with your presence or with your words, you say, I'm here. I'm here. And I'm going to leave a little silence and space right now. Just a short minute or two for you to really deeply connect with that part in whatever way is available to you. And knowing that if at any time it becomes too much, you can return just to simply the medicine of sitting in this circle, being held by this circle. And so wherever you are in your connection with that part of yourself, seeing if you might be able to offer in just a river of gentle love to pour into that place. And it's not a river that says you need to be different than you are. You need to grow or you need to change. It's a river that just says, I'm here and I love you. And I accept you just as you are in this moment. And if it feels right to you in this moment, making a commitment that for the next week you will return every day for a minute or 2 or 5 to connect with this one part of yourself. If it feels right, you make that commitment. For the next week, I will return to you each day for a minute or 2 or 5. And so receiving a deep breath into your body and offering yourself acknowledgement for the courage it takes to sit with these parts. And raising your head a little bit so you see the circle in your mind's eye, offering acknowledgement and gratitude to your sisters who have done this work alongside you. For when we do this work together, it really is so much easier than when we do it on our own. And in your own time, in your own way, gently moving your head and allowing your eyes to open and coming back to the shared space.
Thanks, Moon. That was beautiful. And if anyone's really wanting to just share anything from that, feel free to drop it in the chat, as I'll be moving into the next practice. A little bit of a mini deep dive into radical self-care today. So clearly, well, maybe not so clear to everyone, but for many of you, having a daily meditation practice is such a supportive on the healing journey. So I really recommend having a daily meditation practice, and it can also help to have practices to do in a much sort of shorter way, like regularly throughout the day. So the next two practices are practices that you could use like that, or you could use like a deeper meditation as well, but just yeah, they're really great ways to retrain the nervous system to be regularly regulating and calming and soothing the nervous system, which is a big part of what it takes to, say, heal an illness, and what it takes to sustain health, what it takes to thrive in the world and to live at a more optimal level. So for this particular practice today, some of you community members will know it, it's called a pause. And I invite you to consider a part that you might want to work with. So it could be what came up in the meditation just now, that you want to go to work on in a slightly different way, or it could be a part of you that's maybe in some anxiety or fear about symptoms or never getting better. It could be a part of you, for example, if you have a strong personality trait in terms of perhaps being an achiever or a perfectionist or a helper or a peacemaker, or if you quite easily go into sort of a victim mentality about life. So you could choose one of those parts. It could be a deeper part, like an inner child part that you're aware of. So just take a moment to take a breath and come into your body and just decide what are you going to work on in this moment, to just choose one particular part, or it might be a belief or a thought, just choosing one. And this can be a great way to rewire the brain. So the first stage is, so it's called A pause, the acronym A pause, and A is for awareness. So in awareness, just take a moment to choose what it is you're going to work on, and just notice how you feel it in your body when you're in that particular part or that particular pattern or that particular thought. How does it show up in the body? What are the body sensations, or is it in the head? I mean, just notice where in your body you feel it, or is it even outside your body? Sometimes people feel parts outside their body. Where is it? What's the sensation quality of it? And then for the next one is P, and that's for pause. I just invite you to just say the word pause and put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly, and take a breath and smile. And consciously choose a moment to be present, to pause, to perhaps get a little bit of space from what you're working with, almost like you can witness or observe it from outside. And then the next one is A, and this one's slightly peculiar, but it's a way of helping to release your nervous system. So I invite you to stretch and just make the sound ah, or something like that, just to make some kind of releasing sound. And in this, you might want to have a little shake, or yeah, just see what your body wants to do, just to help discharge a layer of tension from the nervous system. And then the next position is you, and for that, it's your most understanding, compassionate self. So I invite you to put your hands over your heart and connect to the most loving, understanding, compassionate, even wise part of yourself. Maybe see if you can feel a spaciousness opening in your heart. And see if you can just now start to extend some love and compassion to the part that you started with. Start to meet it with compassion and love and holding and understanding. And then the next letter in the acronym is S, and that stands for support. How would the compassionate, loving, understanding part of you support the part of you in position 1? I invite to explore how it feels to offer that part a hug, if that part's open to receiving a hug, some holding. Maybe the compassionate, loving, wise self, understanding self would have some words of empathy for what you're going through or to this part and why it is the way it is. Maybe it would have some words of inspiration and possibility and some hope to offer that part. That transformation and healing is possible, it really is. Or whatever it is that part most needs. And you could ask it from the understanding, loving self position. You could ask that part that you started with in the first position, what do you most need right now? And do your best to offer it to that part from the loving, wise you, from the most understanding, compassionate you. And then the final letter in the acronym is E for the end of a pause, and that's for embody. So I invite you now to embody how it can feel now that you've met this part with understanding, with compassion, with support, with wisdom. To embody a new state from where you started. And that could be a state that's perhaps more trusting in your capacity to heal. It could be a state where you're feeling much calmer and your nervous system is feeling really relaxed and soothed. It could be in a state of love, of self-love. Just allow yourself to access a feeling that's the opposite of where you started. And if that's hard to access, you might like to remember a time in the past where you've accessed that feeling and to really embody and remember what that time was like. What could you see around you? What could you hear? Go into the sensory experience. You could imagine yourself in the future embodying this state that you're moving towards more of. Just doing something you love, being around people you love, whatever it is that helps. Or you could also draw on the qualities that someone else has and just imagine what it would be like to live in their system, in their body, to have that experience if you've seen someone else who embodies more of what you want, whatever that is. Okay, and just imagining moving forwards in that new way and that this is supporting you on your journey to greater health or wholeness or whatever it is you're looking for. So I now invite you to, in a moment, Moon will be guiding a little bit of tapping before we go into a bit more about the course and a special bonus as well if you sign up for the course soon. But if you want to share anything that's come up from the meditation or that practice, feel free. Do you want to go straight into the EFT and then we can do sharings at the end? I don't mind. Or do you want to read some of these sharings?
Oh, yeah, maybe we could take a moment for sharing right now.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
So we've got Joy from Nebraska and USA, and we've got Leah from Vancouver Island, Canada, wonderful. Tilly in Sheffield, UK. I didn't know you lived in Sheffield, Tilly. Great. Yeah, Radical South Coast, something I really want to practice more of. No problem, Lindsay, for joining late. Wow, Moon, that was such a beautiful, artful offering, says Angela.
Glad you.
And Maura from Ireland shares, I connected with a bitterness in me and memories from childhood came up about being jealous of girls in school who had more than me and who could do ballet and piano lessons because they could afford to pay for them. I felt hurt and resentment and that I never got anything I wanted. I'm so glad this part has shown up. Thank you. Oh, wow. Powerful work with a deep and important part of your being, Maura.
Yeah.
It's incredible, this kind of work as well, how many parts there are, you know, even when you've been on this path for years, and I'm sure Moon is still on it too, you know, there's like,
Yeah.
I'm still there. Oh, and a whole nother piece about myself. Thank you for sharing that, Maura. So if anyone else wants to share anything that came up, then please do, and I'll just let you go on to them.
Yeah. Thanks, Fran. And yeah, that was just really beautiful. And like Frances was saying, you know, there are the practices that we do in the morning or the evening that are like our big practice times. And then there are these practices that nourish us throughout the day and help us to keep cultivating a sense of balance and keep returning to a state of equanimity as we're being like blown around by the winds of change that unfold inside of us and outside of us through the day, or the winds of stagnancy if things aren't moving and changing in the ways that we want or don't want. And so a pause, that was really beautiful. Thank you, Francis. And EFT is another one of those practices, like a pause that you can do in a big, deep, long way as part of an extended practice, but it's also available to you to use in a short couple of minutes as one of the tools to bring you back to yourself and back to a sense of balance throughout the day. So I know that many of you here are very familiar with EFT, and also that some of you are brand new to it. And we're just going to do a brief practice with it that will be nourishing to you wherever you're at in your journey with EFT. And so EFT comes to us from the fields of the meridian energy system, as understood through Chinese medicine and other modalities such as that, and also energy psychology. And today we're going to simply utilize the more mechanical aspect of EFT, which is just simply the tapping itself, which is very powerful by itself. And so there's also a part of EFT that brings in language, but we're not going to be working with the language piece today. And if you're someone who's been working a lot with the language piece of EFT, I invite you to be like surprised and delighted by how powerful the tapping can be just merely on its own. So as we begin, I invite you to bring to mind something that's bringing you discomfort in your life right now. One thing, it could be the parts you've already worked with in the other two practices, or it could be something new. And just bring that to mind and notice your level of intensity on a level of 1 to 10. 10 being super intolerable and 1 being I'm totally fine with it. Simply notice it, and then we're going to set it aside and bring our attention solely to tapping. So I'm going to go through the points. We're going to start at the side of the hand, and I'll name the points as we move through them. So if you're familiar with the points, you're welcome to close your eyes. And if they're new to you, then keep your eyes open. So we're just going to tap gently at some places on the face and the body. And all we're doing right now is tapping and breathing. So anytime your mind wanders or gets distracted, or you're thinking again about that big thing you started with, just bring your awareness back to the sensation of tapping and the experience of breathing. So coming up to the eyebrow points, which are right just where your eyebrows begin. You can tap with one hand or with two. I'm going to tap with one just so you can see me and the points better. And just simply tapping and breathing. Then the next points are the side of the eye, right where the temple is. Just tapping and breathing. You can tap as vigorously or as gently as you want. You can even just simply rub the points if that feels better to you. And coming to the next points, it's right on the cheekbones. Just simply tapping and breathing, allowing yourself to hear the sound of the tapping if you're tapping, or the gentle sound of the rubbing, the sensation. Coming under the nose. Tapping and breathing. And coming to the chin. And then coming to the point just below the collarbones. Tapping and breathing. The next set of points, I'm just going to move my camera so you can see. Just on the side, right where your bra line would be if you wear a bra. I like to tap both sides. You can see if there's another way of doing it. Fran is tapping one side. It's whatever feels good to you. Just gently tapping and breathing. And for our final point, we just come to the top of the head. Just tapping and breathing. And then to complete, we'll just take a big, nice stretch in whatever way feels good to you. And then settling and just checking in again with that part or that aspect of your life you're not happy with right now that you brought to mind before you started tapping. Just noticing how it is for you now in this moment. Noticing if it's changed. And just noticing. That was a very brief introduction to tapping, which we will do more of in the course, and to the power of just simply tapping the points and breathing to bring about a change in the body and the mind and the emotions.
Thank you. I'll just read out a few more sharings before we go on to the next piece.
Yeah.
And Joyce, or was it Joy, shares, I connected to the part that feels like a victim because I woke up with a bladder infection. Yeah, I hear that. I'm sure that would bring up that part in me as well. So sending tenderness to that part. Leah shares, also connecting to very early trauma as an ill and isolated baby. This is a new stage in my healing. Oh wow, yeah, really beautiful. Bringing that loving compassion to that really young baby you, and yeah, bringing deep healing to that part. Thank you. Tilly shares, what do you recommend if you feel too overwhelmed by this part, too connected? Like I connected the fear that I can't handle my feelings, but I'm feeling quite overwhelmed and anxious. Yeah, Tilly, I'd suggest, well, you can ask that part to give you a little bit of space so that you can help it if it's willing to step back a little bit. You can really connect into how you feel towards it. So it's like you now and your whole self now is starting to build a relationship with that part. Yeah, and there might also be another part coming in that's feeling overwhelmed, so that one might need some attention. So there's different ways you can work with that. I hope some of that helps. Leah shares EFT is great. Yes, it is. It's wonderful. And Tilly shares about containing. Yeah, sometimes we need to build almost like a container around and build some holding around these parts and resource ourselves. Sometimes it's not about going straight to the core wounded parts. It's about really resourcing ourselves and getting ourselves stable and strong enough to then be able to bring that resource to those parts from the present moment.
Yeah, I think that, that's really important. That's why in like that opening meditation, I said, you can always come back just to the grounding, just to feeling the container that's here for you. So I'm just really echoing what you just said, Fran. Like sometimes it's about building containment and resources before we dive in because we don't want to be overwhelmed. It'd be like you want to learn to swim before you like head into the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Julie shares, I connected with the guilt I carry and then my ability to feel some self-compassion and forgiveness. Very true. Oh, beautiful. Sounds like a healing experience for you. Thank you. And Nicola shares, I started the process at a distance from that part and then ended up giving that part the holding it needed. Thank you. Very powerful. Wonderful. Thank you, Nicola. Leah shares, yes, circling gently towards the source of it mindfully. Beautiful. And is it Kristen shares the wonder of feeling myself in a circle as allowed and accepted, so loving and kind. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And feel free to keep having your sharings coming in and we'll get to what we can. We might not get to any more actually, but it'd be good to read them anyway and for the circle to read them. So Moon, do you want to carry on?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we've been really happy, as we were planning this and to have this time together with you. And yeah, we really did a lot in a short period of time, and you'll have the recording, so you can definitely return to these practices anytime you want. And yeah, we just really hope that this little taste kind of is giving you a sense of the really powerful healing potential of this path, and also how very supportive it is to be doing it together. One of the things that I experienced in the heart of my illness was extreme isolation, and that's something that we hear a lot from the women in the community, is just how lonely people feel. Chronic illness by its very nature can feel really isolated. I've had this, like, the experience of feeling like I'm in an eddy on the side of a river and the rest of life just keeps flowing along in that river, and I'm held in that eddy and unable to move out from it. And so this is one of the reasons why I just find it so powerful, and hear other people saying how powerful it is to do this journey together, so that we're not doing it alone. And there's so many spiritual traditions and modern scientific studies that show the power of gathering together to do the work is so much more powerful than when we do it alone. And so I just wanted to really share how important I've found that on my path, and how important we all find that together. And that's why we're here offering the Women's Wellness Circle community, and also offering this course so that we can heal together. Okay.
Yeah, great, Moon, thanks. So yeah, our upcoming Radical Self-Care course is an opportunity to come and gather together with other women and to explore radical self-care, to deeply dive into it together. And you might be called to it if you just simply want more balance in your life, or if you have a chronic illness, and are being called to radical self-care to support your body and mind and soul to heal, and to have a map of how radical self-care can guide our path as we face the often many layers and parts that are beneath chronic illness developing within the context and holding of a women's circle. So in terms of the content, it's a 8-day online course, which includes 2 online live retreats like today, although we'll all be on video most likely, and go deeper into aspects of radical self-care. And we'll all be able to see each other as well. So to connect more personally, it'll be a smaller group. There's 39 of you on today, and many more signed up for the replay as well. So you get an email each day for 28 days, including practices, poetry, and there will also be 7-hour-long radical self-care recording retreats to dive deeper into your transformational journey of your body, your mind, your emotions, your heart, and your soul. So we explore healing at all the different levels of our being, and practices to support you at all levels. There'll also be a bonus Women's Temple practice session, and a session to help you discover your unique self-care map. And you'll also get Women's Wellness Circle membership included for 6 weeks. So included some time after the course as well, which includes weekly intention setting ceremonies and office hours and events on Facebook Live in the Women's Wellness Circle community. And it also includes monthly coaching calls. So you get 2 as part of that, and a community of women on a similar journey supporting you and cheering you on. And you join the calls online like this, the live ones, and you can listen to all the other calls online, and you can also download them as well to save them on your devices and listen back on your favorite devices. And you'll get, as I said, you get the daily email, the Facebook group as well, and embodiment practices every week. So yeah, it'd be wonderful to have you with us. We have had women have transformational experiences as sort of being on Women's Wellness Circle courses. We had one woman in one meditation who had a deep surrender, she said here, that led to relief of pain that had been with her for I think over a decade, or at least a very long time. Yeah, first time in over a decade and a half having no pain as a result of a practice she did with us in a circle. And the full price of the course is £95, which is $123. And when you join, you also get the bonuses of the Facebook group, like I've already mentioned, but you also get all our Women's Wellness Circle Council interviews from 2017, which includes 20 interviews and guided practices from pioneers in the world of healing and mind-body medicine, including Shamali Ardar, who's founder of the Awakening Women Institute, and Alexandra Pope and Shani Hergo-Wurlitzer, who are authors of the Hay House book Wild Power, on the power of following our menstrual cycle, and they also have wisdom on the power of entering menopause consciously as well. And if you sign up in the next 48 hours, you also get extra community time, so you can join the community right away and also have extra time at the end, which means you get another coaching call. So you get free of 3 monthly coaching calls as part of the package as well, where we cover different themes. So the ones we've got coming up are on boundaries and healthy relationships, and on the power of community and support. And I think I'm missing one, Moon. What's the other one, if you remember?
Yeah, the first one, yeah, it's actually deepening into radical self-care. So it'll be a time to gather, with all of us on video. That's the one at the beginning of March, and to really deepen into the work that we're doing here in the Radical Self-Care Immersion course.
Great. And Joanna, if you can pop the link in so people have got it, that would be great for the event if you're there still. Yeah, so if anyone's got any questions about the course or anything, feel free to put them in the chat box there. And
oh yeah, we've got a question here from Leah. What if we can't attend each day? Which is a really great and important question. So yeah, Leah, so in terms of that, like in the welcome email, there's some invitations for how you might approach your 28-day immersion. And with everything, it's about starting where you are, and starting where you are with great love, gentleness, compassion, and care, and making a schedule that's reasonable for you and that feels good, and that also might stretch you just a little bit, but not so much. We want to be careful that those like achiever parts aren't coming in and planning the schedule. So for example, like if you can't attend the live sessions, you'll receive those as a recording. If like every 3 or 4 days, you'll be receiving the retreat recordings on radical self-care. And, you know, one of the suggestions that we've made is that you could, if listening to an hour retreat in a day is too many, you could block off time and listen to 20 minutes a day, 3 days in a row. So we really warmly encourage and invite you to join in a way that honors the internal rhythms moving through you, and that honors the external parameters of your life, and that nourishes you deeply and challenges you just enough. So thank you for that question. Yeah.
great. And I see some beautiful sharing, which we haven't got time to read out, but it's lovely to see your sharing. And it starts on the course starts on the 25th of February, which is when you'll get the first email, and the live retreats are on the 26th of February at 5 o'clock UK time for an hour, and also the 25th of March at 5 p.m. UK time for an hour. So they're the live retreats, and then you've got lots of content in between that to digest and practice in your own time, and the Facebook community to drop into and access the support there as well. And the coaching calls as well, which are the first Wednesday of the month. So you will get March's and April's, and if you sign up very soon, you'll also get May's as well. Yeah. And Claire, the course is yes, free to members of the Women's Honor Circle who are yearly members, and it's half price to monthly members. Great, thanks. Lovely to see all your sharing. So I guess we move towards the closing practice, unless you've got any final words, Moon. But,
yeah, it's just been really wonderful to have this time with all of you today, and for all of you joining us later on the recording, and to just be together in this space. And yeah, I really want to acknowledge a lot of people shared about the isolation, and it just feels really good to be connected and together, and to keep building community and keep building connection as we all traverse the journeys of our lives. And so yeah, it's been really great being here with all of you. And I wanted to just close with, yeah, just a brief practice so you can kind of take in everything that you've received today. So allowing your eyes to just settle closed if that feels good, and placing one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart, and just listening deeply to your heart and to your body, and just meeting what's here for you. Whatever that is, whatever you're feeling in this moment, just meeting it. And taking a moment to really deeply drink in the courage, strength, and healing support that's been here for you in this circle today. And also that you have contributed in this circle today. And just really deeply drinking in and bathing in the nectar of community and connection and healing practice. Honoring the pieces that you want to carry forward with you, and shedding the pieces that you want to drop just for now. I just want to close with a really beautiful poem written by Bridget Anna McNeil recently. You betray yourself when you deny and squash what your gut knows and the guidance your heart whispers to you. Be wary, for the more you betray yourself for fear of change and in favor of others, the less your heart and gut will talk. until one day you will wonder why you cannot feel or hear clearly who you are, allowing yourself instead to be misled and misguided. And as you close your eyes, you will wonder why you feel so alone within your own bones, within your own company. But just as spring returns each year, just as life and wildness blooms again from bare branch and dark soil, just as the wild weeds, dandelion and nettle grow through the concrete, rewilding the earth, so too can your magic, your voice, and your own wild be sung again within your bones. For it is held deep in you like original instructions that your flesh is woven from, never leaving you and unable to be taken away, just waiting for you to return, to embrace and care for the tender and potent seeds of knowing that are deep in your heart, your gut, and your core, waiting to break open the concrete that you have poured there, waiting to bring life and wildness back from the darkness. Start taking notice. It is not lost. You just need to remember how to listen. Yeah. So to us all, remembering how to listen and awakening through the concrete that we've poured in our beings and coming back to the spring and vitality in each of us for your healing. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Much love. Lots of thank yous coming in.
Mm.
Thank you.